This is Fam Like a Ghost, and you're listening to the song Undressed Rapture Confessional and my alter ego, Josephine Electric. So we're going to play that in the background as we discuss the song. So this particular song is a good example of utilizing our modes and the ability of a Moog semi-modular synthesizer to give you kind of a newfound sound. What we call strange modulation is you hear that use of white noise and percussive capability. In this particular instance, this is an example of using a Mother 32 and a DFAM. These are both semi-modular synthesizers from Moog. I've got them in a Eurorack solution from Arturia called a 6U, which is a two-tiered Eurorack. Within this Eurorack, we have a Make Noise math module, which is a utility module, allows you to create like the central nervous system of your Eurorack. In addition, I have a Pittsburgh 4x2 VCA mixer. And so what I'm able to do is I take the percussive nature of the Mother 32, the DFAM, and I create a 8-step percussive sequence. And at the same time, I have a 32-step percussive sequence going on the Mother 32. Then I use the math module to kind of simulate what you would get if you were using the Moog subharmonicon. I can adjust the actual tempo of what is going on the DFAM and change it by affecting it with the LFO from the Mother 32 and affecting it with the decay of the Mother 32. So I can do a lot of interesting things. I can use the FM modulation on the Mother 32. I can use the LFOs to slow or speed up the sequence and put breaks into it. I can use the run stop to put breaks into it. In this particular song, we don't really use the run stop that much, but it creates a really interesting vibe. On top of that, we're using the Roland VT4 vocal transformer for Josephine Electric's voice run through an MX1 performance mixer. And we've got a bunch of different effects applied at a very low level to give her an interesting vocal tone. In addition, we're using an Arturia BeatStep Pro with a System 1M, which is a great analog behavioral modeling synth from Roland, which has 2 oscillators and a really cool LFO and an interesting filter that you can do low pass and high pass filtering at the same time. So it's got a lot of capability. We're using the base capability of the System 1M. You can actually load a System 100 onto it, but now I've had some issues trying to figure out how to use Roland Cloud since they changed their structure to figure out how to get the plug out onto my System 1M, which I want to get a System 100. Because I've seen the Behringer System 100, and the report is that it takes like 45 minutes for it to warm up, and the oscillators can be somewhat unstable, but it might be the way that they didn't normalize some of the inputs and outputs. So you can get very out of tune things that if you actually got the System 700 from Eleco and Roland, it doesn't have that problem, but it costs a lot more money. You're talking about like a $2,000 machine versus modules only cost $100. So with Behringer, sometimes you get what you pay for. With Roland, it's usually pretty stable. So I would probably go with an SD02 or the 700. Though I've looked at these modules, but now that I've heard the reports that they kind of get out of tune, that's kind of interesting. I was looking at there's a pretty cool web YouTuber that does interesting reviews of equipment, and he actually has always Behringer System 100 modules loaded into Waldorf KB37, which is a cool idea. Cause I was thinking of maybe getting um, trying to figure out how I would bring in a subharmonicon because I used up all my spaces on my Arturia 6U. So it's like that Waldorf thing would be cool because it has a CV to MIDI conversion built into it. But it would take up most of the room, and then I could maybe get a couple um, System 100 modules just to check them out. Maybe just the oscillators and bring them into that, and then have myself a crazy, cool synth. So this Undressed Rapture Confessional is Josephine Electric talking about the confluence of a rose and flower petals and the pistil of a flower. So she's talking about the sexual organs of flowers and kind of conflating them with her own sexuality and talking about a lover, in this case a female, that she's gonna, a rose that's yet to come. So we use like a rose that's yet to come in existence, or the rose that's yet to, be brought into sexual maturity, and she's kind of complaining all these things in this undressed rapture. And we think it's a good example of Josephine doing her sexed up rave ramps. Uh, and, we like to play with her character since we created her back in the day. And the VT4 in this case is our preferred vocal treatment. We kind of go back and forth between the VT3 vocal transformer. The one big thing that we like on the VT3 is it has the scatter, the roll and scatter, and it's very useful when you learn how to use it in a song. It adds a lot to it. And we like giving it a little more experimental nature. Sometimes we want to be more clear what Josephine's saying. So the clarity on the VT4 is a lot better in terms of the sound because it's fully polyphonic. It's got a really good bandwidth. We're very interested in, the Moog 16 channel vocoder, but which is way beyond our price range. The Moog that we're really lusting after, there's two of them, the subharmonicon, which is more doable. We're thinking of upgrading our KeyStep Pro our Beat Step Pro to a KeyStep Pro, and then replacing our JDXI maybe with a Jupiter X, which would be a cool thing. Because it basically we get it with the same things. The way we're using our JDXI is we use it as our drum machine, and the same capabilities in the Jupiter X. It has the same ability to have multiple drum machines built into it. And if we extend it with our KeyStep Pro or our Beat Step Pro, we'd be able to do the same thing we've been doing. The cool thing we would get is we get the additional of an RD piano, which we've always wanted to get that. It's always probably the cheapest way to get an RD piano and then be able to get all the other Jupiter stuff. We're thinking, you can extend it with the KeyStep Pro keyboard, but that's not the best keyboard. We probably you just MIDI it to our Juno keyboard and use the Juno to control it. Though eventually what we really want to do is replace the Juno with a Phantom. And we're thinking, for in terms of our workflow, that would give us a full workstation that we're really comfortable with. We think that workflow is really good. We've looked at other options like an MC707 or getting a Kai Force, but the Kai Force has a lot of things that we're not really into splice. The synth engines aren't as good as the MC707. It's got a really good synth engine. So if you got an MC707, you pretty much got like a Phantom without a keyboard. And then you got a lot of capability. So you look at that and you say, maybe if they ever do the upgrade where it could actually replicate what the Jupiter X is doing, and so it emulate exactly like a Jupiter 8 or all the things that the Jupiter series can do. And that's what we're kind of torn between the Jupiter and the Phantom. But when we think about in terms of song production, the Phantom is a better machine. It's got analog filters. It's got RD piano. It's got all this stuff. Seems they've gotten more and more plugins with whether or not they finally let it do what the Jupiter does. Anyway, I think they want to have the Jupiter be its own thing. And the problem I heard with the Jupiter is the workflow, because it tends to shift, kind of like the System 8 used to shift when you loaded a model. It would highlight some of the buttons or some of the dials, and what could be done and what couldn't be done. And some people have complained that the implementation on the Jupiter sometimes doesn't make sense because there's buttons you want to be able to use and you can't use them. And so they were thinking that maybe they should have been a little bit more thoughtful in that. Maybe in a firmware update they can fix that. The other synth that we're really thinking is a kind of really exciting is the UDO Super 6, which basically is the heart of like a Jupiter 6 or Jupiter 8. But the Jupiter 6 is a really big powerhouse, but it's not, I guess, tone friendly. It doesn't create like beautiful tones, if you think dissonance is beautiful, which I do, but it doesn't create the kind of beautiful tones that the Jupiter 8 is known for, like the Duran Duran kind of pads or the stuff that Journey and stuff used. It doesn't do that. I mean, Santana used it, but it does a lot of sonic dissonance, a lot of cool stuff that I think is interesting. It's been kind of not thought of as being as good as the Jupiter. And Mylar Melodies did a really good example of what the Jupiter 6 can do. Seems like the UDO is in that kind of zone. It can create a lot of interesting tones. It's got the binaural oscillators, FGPA capability, so it probably can become anything in the future with firmware updates, kind of like the System 8, kind of like the Jupiter X. But it's got because it's binaural oscillators, it's got the FGPA, it's kind of very forward thinking. It's got analog filters, but digital FGPA oscillators. It's a $3,000 bear. So it's in the same range as a Jupiter. So if you're looking at the Jupiter X, you're like, oh, I don't like the implementation or whatever. And I look at the Jupiter X and I tend to want to get the Phantom. But my issue is, I have room for one more polysynth to replace the Juno. And the one that can do everything is really the Phantom. And we know that the Phantom can't do what the Super 6 can do. But in terms of a workhorse, in terms of working with other people, because of its integration, because of its really good workflow and its good song production capabilities, we like it better than the Korg Chronos. We've looked at Chronoses for years, but we're kind of rolling guys when it comes to that. So it kind of comes down to it that, flip the coin. Today I'll go with the Phantom. And then, overall, in terms of another synth that we'd want to get is it's the Moog Matriarch, just because it's a super powerhouse. We think it's a classic. We've got the Grandmother. We're really sold on how the Grandmother works. So, and the thing is, it's not about like you get a Matriarch and you replace your Grandmother. The Grandmother actually behaves differently because of the spring reverb and because there are other things about it. It's easier to. It's like a mini Moog. It's very easy to bring on stage and do something real quick. Where the Matriarch is more of a sound design machine. So there's still good use. And typical of Moog, there's a good reason to get any of the Moogs they make. All of them have different aspects. All of them have capabilities that are super interesting. So we're going to seg out of this with Undressed Rapture again. If you like the song, go out to the SoundCloud. If you want to support Fam Liquid Ghost, click the PayPal Me link. If you want to support us on Anchor FM, click the link to support us there. If you want to be interviewed, send us a voice memo with your Instagram username, and we'll talk to you later. You pick the petals of flower you want done. You pick the petals of flower, rose and Slipstream of the one done. Down the slipstream of the flowers of the girl who would come. One. Down the slipstream of the battles, how you want that. You pick the petals of flower you want done. You pick the petals of flower, rose yet to come. You pick the flowers, petals of rose undone.
flowers of the petal, the rose to come. Is she the one? Dead and slipping of the one that you want, but you wanna come. Dead and slipping of the petals of the flower you want come. You want her done. Dead and slipping of the petals of the flower that you want. Thorns on the one. Dead and slipping of the petals of the flower yet to come. Is that rose undone? Dead are the petals of the flower of the rose yet to come. Is the kingdom come? Dead are the flowers of the rose that you're yet to pick, son. The rose that meant to come. Yet are the flowers of the rose and settled and you're done. In the slipstream you're done. Yet in the flowers of the jet stream of the flower undone. That rose yet to come. Dead are the flowers of the rose that you're yet undone. The rose yet to come. Dead are the flowers of the petal of the one done. Yet the rose yet to come. Dead are the flowers of the rose that yet undone. The rose yet to come. Dead are the flowers of the petal yet pink. She comes. With that petal undone. Dead are the flowers of the rose yet to come. The flower undone. Dead are the flowers of the petal that you pick. And sun. With that rose yet to come. Dead in the slipstream of the petals of the flower and done. You're ready to come. Dead in the flowers in the slipstream, yeah, have fun. When you wanna shoot my gun, dead in the flowers of the petal and the slipstream all for fun. You wanna shoot my gun, dead in the flowers and the slipstream, yet undone. Your pistol's ready to come. Dead are the flowers of the sex with the flower yet done. Is your pistol yet to come? Dead are the flowers of the pistol yet to be fired, son. Petals undone. Don't have to hang the phone. I wanna hear you moan. I wanna hear you moan. Don't hang up the phone. Don't hang the phone. I wanna hear you moan. Don't hang up the phone. I wanna hear you moan. Don't hang up the phone. I wanna hear you moan. Don't hang up the phone. I wanna hear you moan. No, you're not alone. Don't hang up the phone. I wanna hear you moan. Don't know I